Canada has a long UFO history, and its government keeps a public record of sightings. In 2020, the number was 1,243, a notable uptick from the previous year, continuing a trend that goes back decades. But of all those sightings over all those years, there may be none as famous as this. November 7th, 1990. It's just after 7 p.m. in downtown Montreal, Canada. A guest is enjoying an evening swim in the rooftop pool at the Bonaventure Hotel, when suddenly she looks up into the sky and sees this. Look closely. 4 strange glowing green lights seem to point outward from the center like spokes, while 2 bright yellow lights can clearly be seen in the center of the object. The woman notifies management, and soon a group of people, including the police, come to the hotel rooftop. As the crowd gathers, initial estimates among witnesses place the lights at least 1,000 feet above the hotel. Journalist MJ Banias explains why this event is famous not only in Canadian history, but UFO lore.
The Bonaventure UFO incident was very unique because almost 30 people saw this strange object in the sky hovering above this hotel. And more bizarrely, this hovers above this hotel for 2 or 3 hours, and you would assume people in the city would see it. But the only people who are able to see this were the people on the roof of the hotel or on the sidewalk just outside it when they looked up.
Additionally, no aircraft was identified in that location by military or commercial radar. So what happened, and why this specific hotel?
2 UFO researchers were able to comprise a report quite quickly after the encounter, and they were able to collect significant witness testimony.
The witnesses all described to investigators a craft that matches what's seen in the photograph. But most intriguing is after the craft disappears, one witness later that night sees a boomerang-shaped object hovering over the Hydro-Quebec Long Point power station. Is it the same craft that hovered over the hotel?
This story has everything. And when you get a whole bunch of people telling the same story, it's going to automatically draw a lot of attention.
Montreal's Hotel Bonaventure is nestled on the top 2 floors of the sprawling 17-story Place Bonaventure. When it first opened in 1967, it was the world's largest commercial building at 3.1 million square feet, more than the Empire State Building. So perhaps the reason the alleged UFO in 1990 selected the Hotel Bonaventure was its size. But is it even a UFO? We asked our experts to take a look. We start with aviation expert Tim McMillan.
Basing it on the image here, possibly a helicopter that has a searchlight or some type of bright lights attached to it, but you would be able to see the warning lights that are on helicopters. Also, you can hear helicopters from miles away. They're loud, especially one that is hovering for 3 hours. That's a long time. But none of the eyewitnesses mentioned hearing a helicopter. So we could be looking at a drone, but this photograph was taken in 1990. The military-level drone technology was still in its infancy. And frankly, if we were looking at military testing drone technology, you don't do that over civilian populated areas.
In fact, McMillan believes if it's a flying machine, it's not one we know of.
We're able to rule out fixed-wing planes because they can't hover. I don't know of any good aerospace platform that would be able to fit both what we're seeing in the picture and what eyewitnesses said.
Is it possible location plays a factor? Meteorologist Juan Hernandez notes that Canada is well known for one of the most spectacular natural phenomena on Earth.
My initial thought was, could it be the aurora borealis? But aurora borealis often move and are quite transient. In this case, the report was a stationary light that lasted for several hours.
But the hazy nature of the photo does lead Hernandez to investigate if Mother Nature could still be playing a role.
I was able to track down the weather observations from that day. We do have temperatures that were actually about 30 to 34 degrees while this was occurring, but the relative humidity itself was somewhat on the high side. So whenever you have something like this, you oftentimes develop either some sort of fog or low clouds.
For astronomer and video effects designer Mark D'Antonio, that may be the key to solving this mystery.
I believe that we're seeing a reflection back from the clouds, the fog, that look like something else. You've seen this every time you go out in your car and you drive along on a foggy night. So these lights could have been lights from the pool and from some other lighting around the Bonaventure Hotel, reflecting up into the sky and then down to the pool again.
It's a plausible theory, but if it was the reflected pool light, wouldn't the guests and police there that night have put two and two together? Plus, consider this. It's been 30 years. There have been many foggy nights in Montreal in that time, and if it's a reflection, it's one that's never been seen again.
Whenever you're trying to form a really good investigation, you're testing different hypotheses, but I'm inclined to believe that multiple, potentially up to 80 witnesses, someone would have been able to determine if it was a light being reflected categorically, based on the image and what the eyewitnesses said, it is a UFO.
Our verdict, we're going with genuine UFO. As McMillan says, while there are plausible theories, in our view, we still don't have a smoking gun. The Hotel Bonaventure incident is still considered one of the most famous UFO sightings in Canada. So much so that in 2020, it was depicted on a $20 silver glow-in-the-dark coin.